Hello everyone, we're doing a V3 PSP performance upgrade here. And I will get this pushed out probably by tomorrow morning. I'm going to go over some of the standard ways you run the games as well as the special way you have to run the games. But I'm in a dummy photo right now. And we're going to load content. And let's see what we have here. We're going to load something that's pretty standard right now. We'll load Mega Man X Maverick Hunter again. And I'll show you a majority of the games are going to run with the default settings. And if you go into the options here, just pay close attention. You go into the actual core options. You'll see auto frame skip is enabled and it's set to 1. Most games are going to run with these two settings right here. But I'm going to give you examples of games that will not run properly with those settings. But let's see how this runs real fast.
Mega Man.
Okay. See, everything's running nice right now. This is a standard game, and I've tested a few hundred games, and most of them run with these settings with the tweaks I implemented just fine with this frame skip enabled and set to 1. But there are games that you're going to have to do the other option with. And again, some games will start out a little bit slow, but you give it a few seconds, they'll catch up to speed. That's running okay. Let's try another game here. We'll try something a little more CPU intensive here. How about we try Tiger Woods. And we're going to leave it at these default settings here for a moment. Then I'm going to show you what you need to do to actually run this game. And this is one of the tougher games to run at a decent pace. We'll see how slow the game runs with the default settings. Like I said, anytime you run into a CPU intensive game, just be prepared to change a specific option, which I will show you. And obviously the title menus are not going to be any indication of the true gameplay. We'll find out in a moment here. We should be in game here in a few seconds here. Okay, we're about in game here. Let's see how slow this runs.
For a challenge, you come to the right course. Good afternoon, everyone.
Pretty bad right now. So what I'm going to do is go into the core options here. And I'm going to turn auto frame skip to disable. And then you're going to want to change this between 2 and 4. Them are the best settings to use when you have this disabled. And like I said in my previous video, it's like Stranger Things the Upside Down, where when you have it enabled, it's actually the reverse of having it disabled. It works in reverse. So by disabling it and doing it this way, it'll actually help with the more CPU intensive games. We're going to leave it at 4 here and see how it runs. So it's actually running a little bit faster than it did. More playable here. The sound is still fine. So even though it's a tough to run game, it's actually playable here.
This could make things interesting.
And I'm going to try another game here. And again, I'm trying more of the CPU intensive games here. Oh, we could try out Star Soldier, a great shmup game. And this one might not need the more CPU intensive settings. It's running too quick, which means I do not need the CPU intensive settings. So I'm going to re-enable it and set it to 1. Resume. And you can see that it has kind of a different angle here. So I'm going to go into the RetroArch options here. Settings. Video, and I'm going to have to use the rotation to do that. Rotation 90 degrees for this specific game. This is could work for some arcade games too, and of course Atari Lynx. And of course, my controls are all messed up right now, so I'm going to rechange that. I'd have to recalibrate the controls there. So I'm going to go into a video, and I'm just going to play it at the weird angle for this little test here. So I'm going to rotate it back to where it was. It's running real nice with the default settings. Great game. There's quite a few Star Soldier games on TurboGrafx 16 particularly. Okay, let's try a pinball game. Everybody loves pinball. So I'm going to load one of the pinball games I have in here. Pinball Classics, the Gottlieb collection. There's quite a few great ones. I have this on PS4 as well. We're running with the default settings here, but I have a feeling I might have to use the CPU intensive settings for this one. Let's see. Sounds a little bit like The Who here. Uncannily like The Who.
Genie! Genie is all about... Let's take a look at where on the table.
Okay. Says not actually not running too bad right now. And I failed immediately. Didn't even have a chance to flip it at all. I'm just running with the default settings right now. Not bad at all. I'm gonna quit before I fail a third time. That's pretty bad. But you could use the R and L triggers to hit the flippers. So we're gonna try another game here. We'll try something else CPU intensive here. We're gonna try this game does crash, by the way. You can play for a few seconds before it crashes, but you'll get a good indication of a God of War style clone and how it can run with the more CPU intensive settings here. So I'm running default settings. I'm going to go into RetroArch options here. Again, I'm going to disable frame skip and set it to 2 or 4. I'll leave it at 3 for this one. Let's get in game and see how it runs. And of course, the God of War games are not playable, so I've been looking for games similar to God of War. And we have Dante's Inferno and Ghost Rider, which I played both of these on the real PSP before. But this is pretty nice while it does run, at least. I mean, some games just simply crash. See, we got some good movement here, good speed. But it's gonna crash on me. As I said, it crashed already. So we're going to try another game. And there's only 256 megabytes of memory to work with, so yes, you're going to have crashes sometimes. How about we try Metal Gear? I'm sure many of you have been wondering about a Metal Gear game. We'll try Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops, and we'll keep it with the CPU intensive settings here. And this game is actually playable. It'd help if I could get in game here. I keep pushing the circle and X to reverse again, as I mentioned before. So let's try this out. There we go. I kept pushing X and it kept going backwards. Very unintuitive since I'm so used to pushing X to move forward and circle to move backwards. But we do have speed here. This is potentially one of those games where you're going to have to go into your control options. There's quite a few like this, and you're going to have to disable the left analog here so you have the D-pad control. And this really helps out a lot with Nintendo 64 games like GoldenEye as well. Just remember that. And you can do a save game override for games like this. See, now I can actually control things a lot better. Not too bad at all. I could probably even change the frame skip down just a little bit too. I mean, you can adjust it accordingly, and you're going to get a better example of this when I show you Tomb Raider next. But today's about the CPU intensive games, and this is what V3 is all about. We're going to load into a Tomb Raider game here. And that's also a game where you're going to have the analog disabled. Tomb Raider Anniversary. And when I get in, I'll use the CPU intensive settings. And you can see how you can adjust it accordingly here too. So I'm going to go and disable the left analog because I had an issue leaving it on before. And this is a CPU intensive game, just to forewarn you. See, I'm moving my analog and I'm using the D-pad controls right now, so I'm going to have to go into options, controls, and disable the left analog again. Again, I could save game override on this if I want to come back to it and have it disabled already. So very CPU intensive here. And I can go into the options here and change the frame rate. Let's go in here. I have that disabled. I could change it to 4, 5. I could even go all the way up to 7 if I want to. I can move faster, but there's more of a choppy factor here. But let's take that down a little bit. We'll take it down to 3 and see how that looks. This is more presentable as a playable game. I mean, it's still slow, but I'm going to actually play it on 3 or 4 and see if I could get anywhere with it. So 3 or 4 is pretty. I mean, if you want to play a game like this, 3 or 4 is not too bad. Like I said, don't expect greatness on some of these really, really tough to run games like this. This is not an easy one to run. I'm going to change it back to 4 real quick. Gotta do my lateral jump by holding right. And 3 is definitely better as far as the less choppy factor for this particular game. Like I said, some games are going to be affected more than others. You just have to have a little trial and error there. So I would probably play this at a 3. Then we're going to go to our best game of all, the Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins. I'm going to go back to the main RetroArch here. I'll, of course, have to load to the 2048. Once I'm in there, I'm going to exit to the main GUI. Now I'm going to load Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins one more time. And we'll see what settings work for this. But like I said, a majority of the games are going to run with just a frame skip on as enabled and set to 1. And let's see where we're at right now. Quick menu, options. And for this game, since it is a CPU intensive game, you're going to need it disabled. And I'm going to have the frame skip set to 4 right now. We'll just see how it goes with that. Not bad at all. I could get away with a 3 or 4 here.